Welcome to our live training. We're trying to do one of these trainings every month and focus in on something new. Always love to get your feedback. So at any time, put something in the chat if there's a topic you'd like for us to go over in the future. I'm here for you to provide as much value as I can. And so it's really helpful to know what you guys are interested in. I could also be reached at april@deckbuildermarketers.com at any time if you have any questions. If you have a particular question that came up during the training today that you want to elaborate on, I'm all yours. So, all right. Okay. So this is everything that you should be focusing on for your online strategy with your digital marketing. We're just going to focus on one component of that today. We're going to focus on the new SEO formula. So with that, I'm going to be talking about some things that you may have been doing in the past and some new approaches that you should be taking now in order to get more traffic to your website. That's more eyeballs on your company and obviously more leads in the door and more revenue. So we're going to talk about some latest updates with the Google algorithm. So basically SEO is how do we feed Google's artificial intelligence to tell them that they should be showing your website when somebody's looking for a deck builder in their area? We're going to talk about, like I said, some things that you have to put in place that, if you were doing them before, they could be hurting you now. So it's ever evolving. We have SEO experts that spend a couple hours a week just researching, learning the newest trends, following the Google algorithm changes, and constantly pivoting with what we're doing in order to ensure that we're getting the most juice out of the squeeze and being successful. So there are some things that maybe you've done in the past that you need to switch up, and we'll be talking about that. And of course, we're going to be talking about how to optimize your website using the new SEO formula. So just if you can, you've already taken, for me, like the hardest part about going to the gym is just getting there. It's not actually doing the work, right? So you guys are here. So just if you can, like turn off Facebook and your cell phone and just, focus on your business for the next hour. So a little bit about me. I'm the owner of Deck Builder Marketers. I've been in the design and marketing space for over 18 years. We started Deck Builder Marketers a couple of years ago after running a full service generalist marketing agency because we just wanted to focus with the clients that we enjoyed working with the most and the ones that we had the most success with. Our first deck builder we worked with over the course of a few years, we were able to develop a proprietary system that we now call the Deck Builder marketing system that really helped triple their business. So we've broken that system down into different levels depending on where you are in your business. But in the end, we're really on a mission to help 100 deck builders, double or triple their revenue and really just have the business that you deserve. We talk to a lot of deck builders across the country, and a lot of people have the same problems. And typically it's wearing too many hats and not having enough time in the day, or just not getting the results that you should out of your current marketing investment. I'm personally very active in the community. I'm really excited to say that I had my first column in Deck Specialist magazine come out this month, and we're going to be sponsoring the Nadra Summit Deck Awards, and you can find us at the next Deck Expo as well. And I had the opportunity to speak there too, which was great, although it was way too early in the morning for Vegas, I'll say that. So I really enjoy what I do. I get to help a lot of people that have been through what I've been through, working a million hours a week, trying to wear multiple hats. And, I don't think we all go into business wanting to work a million hours and basically create a job for ourselves. So I want to shift that narrative and, help you guys really get the business that you deserve. Personally, I love to not work all the time, and I like to ride my dirt bike and go surfing and spend time with my family and really enjoy the beautiful scenery here in San Diego. So Google algorithm updates. There's a link here should you want to nerd out and go and check out all of the recent updates and just kind of stay on top of them. This is where you would go. It's on Google's site. And as you can just see, there are tons of updates happening all the time on a monthly basis. and a lot of things that, again, impacts what you may have been doing in the past, that you need to be aware of, so that you, again, get the most juice out of your squeeze. So does SEO still matter? I mean, we have all these things, right? I mean, the first slide I showed you, we've got social media, we have ads, we have email marketing, we have things like Angie and pay per lead and all of this stuff. So does it really still matter, especially with AI? What's going on with Google and how they look at things? So this is just a graph. Can you guys see my screen okay? Let me just do a check-in. Is my sound good? You guys can see my screen. Everything's good to go?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So this is a screenshot of one of our clients. This is the search results in their area. And just to give you a little idea of how this works, at the top, you have all of your paid stuff. So these first three boxes are Google's local service ads. It's a pay per lead model. And then you have the normal Google ads here. So this is all paid placement. A lot of times people will skip that because they know it's paid and they want to go for things that seem more authentic and genuine. So the organic listings. So the next spot you have are your Google business listings, or the map pack, 3-pack, whatever you want to call it, Google Maps. If you view if you just search right now on your phone, deck builder in whatever your city is, you'll be able to see what this looks like for you, see if you're showing up. And more so, a lot of people use their mobile device to do research, unfortunately having the blue screen before they go to bed and all of that stuff. So you need to make sure that you are prominent here, especially in the 3-pack, because that's all people are going to see when they're scrolling. And depending on how many people are bidding for advertisement space, you might only see advertisement space. And so you'll have to scroll quite a bit in order to see the organic listings. But with all that said, still 71% of all clicks are going to the organic. So either the map pack or the organic listings that we see down here. And then to boot, what is going on with to boot, 67% are clicking on the first 5 listings. So you can see how the Google map pack is extremely important. And then the first 2 listings after that are extremely important. So it still matters, yes, and you can't rely on ads alone. So here's, there's a lot going on here. I'm going to explain it to you. So basically, I like to be a little conservative in our goals, because there's so many changes there's so many things that you're not in control of. Like, we're not in control of Google. All we can do is try and, make them happy, is what I say, by producing great content and doing a lot of the things we're talking about. But 50% of the traffic that comes to your website, I'm going to say at least 50% minimum should be from your organic. So if you have Google Analytics on your site and you're really seeing where people are coming from, I'm going to tell you, a lot of people think that they get a ton of leads and their traffic is coming from social media. And typically that's not the case. So definitely get analytics installed so that you can better understand what's going on. But in general, Google organic traffic, you don't have to pay for. Whereas with ads, once you stop paying for it, those leads are going to stop coming in. So organic traffic is, it's an earned media. And so you basically got to work in order to prove to Google that they should be sending people to your site. So here's just a few case studies. 62% of organic traffic, or of all of their traffic, is in organic. 63% for this client. And you could see 135% increase in all traffic from the previous period, 15% increase. I think this one was a 30-day snapshot, whereas this one was about a year. So 63%. And then with this case, this was a newer client. We didn't have comparative data. So they're at 55.5% with organic traffic. Go ahead, and if you guys know where your traffic comes from by looking at analytics, just put a 1 in the chat for me. It gives me a better idea of kind of who's here and how I can really provide great value during our time together. Okay, no one's typing that. So it's really easy. Just go to google.com/analytics. You might have to get a web developer to help you install the tracking code, but it's pretty easy as long as you can get that code on your site, and then you can start reviewing your traffic, which is really important. Okay, so the SEO formula for this year, we're going to go over a lot. There's a lot of bullet points here. I'm going to stop on each one, but then I'm going to show you guys some examples a little bit later with some live websites and stuff. So, so stick with me. Okay. If you're falling asleep, let me know and we'll move forward or switch it up. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. And I also have a couple of resources I'm going to give you guys, a couple of downloads that you can take with you that are going to help you along the way too. So the first step is to figure out what the most important keywords are based on the services that you offer, the areas that you serve, and then search volume. So you can use tools like Google Keyword Planner, which is a research tool that's part of Google Ads. You can go and set up a free account. I think it's just ads.google.com, and then you can use the Keyword Planner in order to figure out what the search volume is and the level of competition for different keywords that fit your services in your area. These are some other tools you can use too, WordStream, SpyFu, etc. But just take a minute. If anybody wants to share in the chat or just, speak up in video, what keywords do you think people are searching for to find you currently? And by all means, take some notes and stuff while we're doing this. If you don't want to speak up, write some down, get your mind thinking, because I do want to stop at one part in the workshop here and have you guys write down a few action items.
Decking, redecking.
Okay.
Outdoor solutions, outdoor living, outdoor kitchens.
Yep. All good things. And then if you offer other services like dock decks or, pavilions, pavers, all of that stuff, you want to show up for that. Don't assume people are going to find you. You've got to plug that stuff in so they can find you. Okay. So, the second part is you need to set up a website with unique pages that target those keywords. So I'm going to give you guys a list of all the important keywords that you should be ranking or you should be targeting on your website and all of your efforts in a few. But once you have those keywords determined, you've done your research, you need to basically have a page for each of those keywords. I'll tell you just a big thing a big problem that I find. I just spoke with a prospect yesterday, and I didn't even know what city they were from. So I had to ask them. I couldn't do my competitive research to really figure out where they stand because their website didn't even indicate where they were located. And so you really want to have a combination of your target keywords mixed with the cities that you serve. So deck builder, Indianapolis, deck builder, just any related city, area, or even county. For us here in San Diego County, we in different areas kind of refer to the area in a different way. So for us, we refer to it as North San Diego County, or San Diego Coastal. So kind of broaden your mind. I mean, what people would search for or refer to your area. And so all of those keywords that you're mentioning, Bob, you had mentioned quite a few. You want to tag those up with the cities that you serve, and definitely make sure that you say the cities that you serve and the areas that you serve on your website. Okay, so this is a big thing that I personally love that Google has done. So back in the day, you used to just kind of plug in all these keywords in your website, and it was about density. So the more of those keywords that you had, the better. And that worked for a while, but then, the internet grew, and Google wants to ensure that they have, they're sending people to the right sites from their searches, their highly relevant searches. So then it became, okay, well, you need to have high authoritative links back to your website. So, related websites, let's say Nadra, you've got your profile on Nadra. That's a link that goes back to your website. The more of those types of links that you have, the more relative you are, and Google kind of gives you credit. And that alone, combined with the keyword density, help to move you forward. But it's not like that anymore. I mean, the internet has grown so much. There's millions and millions of searches every day. There's a million websites out there, and Google really had to up the ante in terms of how they're going to score you in order to show up in a search. So what they've done is they are actually collecting data on the person's user experience. So that means, a couple of examples are, do they come to your website and then they don't scroll, they don't click on anything, they just leave? I mean, that's considered a bounce. Google showing that they sent you there and you did not find what they were looking for. They're not going to be happy with that. They're not going to continue to send people to your site. Do they go to different pages on your site and links are broken? Let me show you a couple of examples here too. You guys can still see my screen, okay? So I was speaking with somebody in Woodstock, Illinois yesterday. And these were a couple of competitors that they had. So you could come to this website. I think it looks nice, right? Like it makes me want to scroll because, I mean, I can convert, right? Like I can, well, actually, that's not a very good example. Here's one of our client sites. So if you come here, it gives me enough to, if I want to get a free estimate or call them, I can, but I'm pretty impressed with their work. I can see where they're located. I'm going to scroll. I'm either going to use the slideshow and see what other stuff they have here, or I'm going to scroll down and, get more information. Here, I can quickly go through, their projects. There's just a lot of really rich, useful stuff for me in here that's going to make it sticky for me, meaning I'm going to stay. And that's what Google wants to see. Another thing would be video. Definitely get video on your site. If you don't have any video, get some sort of an intro video. It could even just be a quick video of you talking about your company, how you're different, introducing yourself, and then just going through some of your money shots, like your really good projects that you've done. It could be really simple, but getting video up there is going to make you stand out. And of course, it's one of those aspects that adds to the user experience for Google. But above all, if I was to simplify it, oh, hold on, I wanted to show you guys this. So this was one of their competitors that I saw, and I'm like, okay, I come here, I'm like, it's pretty nice. I can see great pictures of their work. There's a lot of rich content, like different sections I can go to. They give me the contact information. I can see some more things here, but look at this. I mean, would you guys agree? This looks pretty nice. I think that this is a little bit more sophisticated maybe, but design could be subjective, but it's pretty nice, right? I mean, it's got some good keywords in here. It doesn't look too bad. So check this out. As you scroll, it gets harder and harder to read. So white on gray, not the best contrast. This serif font is difficult to read. All of this is kind of crammed up, and it's crazy because it just kind of keeps getting worse as you go. So now I've got white text on really light gray. I can't read this. My eye doesn't even know where to go. I feel like I'm being yelled at right now. Okay, I'm going to keep scrolling, and it just never stops. Like, are you really going to take the time to read all this information? Maybe if you get here, like you're really interested in their work, and maybe you read that far, but I'm not even a quarter of the way through scrolling. And there's so much content here. It's hard to read. It's not designed well. They did this for search engines. They did not do this for users. And it's a compromise. When you build your site and you come up with the content structure, the design, and all of that, you need to have a happy balance or harmony between what you do to make the search engines happy and what you do to make your users happy. I'm going to tell you, they might be working well, they're not going to continue to. Google will eventually penalize a site like this. This is terrible, in my opinion. I think everybody would agree here. You're not going to sit here and read all of this, right? You don't go to a website to read a novel. You go there to, especially for a deck builder, you just want to see awesome pictures of their work. So does this make sense so far when I say usability? So make sure that you're optimizing your website for user experience. It's about doing it for a human, not a search engine. So I personally like it because I think that it makes people, have to work a little bit harder to have nice websites. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go over the on-site optimization. One thing I don't remember if I mentioned, but sticking to, if you guys have heard of the whole 80-20 rule, 80% of the results come from 20% of the work. What we're going to do is we're going to focus on that 20%. There's a whole bunch of other things we can be doing from an SEO perspective, but I think it's best to really focus on those components that are going to make the biggest impact. And that's what I'll be sharing with you today. There's all kinds of nuances. I'm going to show you some different ranking factors, lots of things you can be doing that are helpful. I think it's important just to start with a good foundation and focus on that 20% that's going to make the biggest impact. So optimize your site for SEO. I mean, the biggest thing there is you want to insert those keywords that you researched onto your website, on the back end of the website and the front end of the website. And I'll show you a little bit more about what I mean with that. Then you want to build your site or build your overall authority. So your company's authority and personal authority, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. So off-site optimization. This is where a lot of websites go off track. So you might have a nice website with all kinds of pages. I mean, here's an example of all kinds of service pages. This is a new client's website that we just launched. They have all these amazing project pages. But just doing that alone, it's not enough. It's not enough. And I see a lot of mistakes with prospects in general, even if they have all the right components in place, that the content is really lackluster. So again, it's either speaking to Google and not actual people, or it's too fluffy and it's not giving me the meat and potatoes. So it's really, really important that the content that you have on your website is really rich and valuable. And you also want to make sure that it's not duplicate. So the offsite optimization, again, we'll go over that in more detail. It's really about a bunch of signals that you do. What's going on with your brand off of your website? I mean, it's a combination of signals from social media, other websites that are linking back to you, and so on and so forth. We'll go over that stuff in detail. And then the last factor is you need to track your results. If you're working with an SEO company, just make sure they're not working in a vacuum. I unfortunately hear it a lot of times where people come to me and they're like, I have no idea what my SEO company is doing. You don't just pay money and not understand what your return on investment is. So it's really, really important that you have some sort of tracking in place, because SEO does take time. You're not going to optimize your website and get all this content on there, and all of a sudden you're 3 times as much traffic as you were getting before. It's a slow and steady pace. And when you're investing either your time or your money to have somebody else do it for you, you need to be able to see that progress and know that it is moving in the right direction. So a few things that I will recommend is there's all kinds of keyword ranking software out there. If you just search for, keyword ranking tracking software, you'll find a million that will be just fine. Those target keywords that you put in, you want to track them to see if you are moving up in the search engine result pages. So the lower the number, the better. This is our client in Fishers, Indiana. They are number 1, right? So this is the organic placement. They're number 1 here. Dex by Design would be number 2, number 3, number 4. If you're 10 or beyond, people, they've got to go to multiple pages. They're just not going to do that. I mean, some people will, but I think it speaks a lot, even if you're paying for ads and you're showing up at the top, you're showing up in the Google business listing, and you're showing up in the organic. That's just perceptual authority from the user. So make sure that you're tracking your keywords. Make sure that you're tracking how you're showing up in that map pack here, right? So, I mean, you can see right here, deck builder, Fishers, Indiana. What about deck contractor? You know, what about composite deck builder? What about patio builder? You know, all of those keywords you need to track and make sure that you are showing up all over the map for it. So this is an example of a deck builder for this prospect. And I mean, this will be pretty typical, especially depending on the size of your area. You'll be ranking #1, but all of these other areas, nothing. So here, you know, as you get further away, you know, they're #8 in this city, 6 in this city. And what that looks like is right here, you can see 3. It's a very easy decision for me. If I don't want to go all research heavy, who do you guys think you would click on at this point? Somebody just tell me 1, 2, or 3. Artisan, Decks by Design, or Fishers. Who would you click on?
1 or 2.
Why is that?
Because it's the easiest one to see.
Yeah, I mean, it takes precedence. And then, you know, people look at the reviews too. We'll talk about that too. It's extremely important. I always leave everybody with, if you don't do anything else, make sure that you have a system for collecting reviews consistently. So, oh, I'm sorry, I was going to show you. I mean, you could click more businesses, and then you can see if my computer will work. As you go down, you can keep going. You can keep going. If somebody's ranking #28, this is 1 million clicks in order to find them. That's just too much. So the lower the number, the better here. And then traffic and like rankings are great. I mean, it doesn't really, what does that mean to your pocket? You know, and traffic, same thing. It's great, but it needs to be quality traffic that's actually converting into business. So it's good to kind of track, you know, your keywords and your traffic so that you can see how things are trending. But in the end, you want to know how many leads you're getting. You want to know where they're coming from, what the cost per lead is, where are you with your sales goal? You know, how much does it cost you with all of your marketing in order to close a project? You need to know these averages, because as your business evolves, so should your marketing. You know, you'll end up having multiple crews. You know, if you're in the revenue bracket of like 18 million trying to go to 30, that's a pretty big jump. You need to do a lot more, and you need to get really smart with your marketing and understand what sources are bringing you revenue and what is the right mix for you too, because there's a million things you should be doing. So all this to say that if you are working with an SEO or marketing company, make sure that they're giving you some sort of reporting like this. And if you're not working with someone, make sure that you have something set up, even if it's just an Excel spreadsheet, to keep track of this stuff ongoing. You should always know your numbers. All right, so Mackenzie's going to put the link in the, oh, so you guys can't see my screen, okay? If I make it bigger, does that help? Here, I'll go to this. Does that help when I make it bigger?
A little bit.
Okay, so this is good. I can make it real big. Okay, just speak up in the chat or whatnot if you can't see anything or if you have any questions. So if you click on the link that Mackenzie put in the chat, you'll have this this PDF. And where do I have it? Right here. So these are the top searched keywords, most commonly searched, that you should be using for your SEO, and if you're doing Google ads too, consider some of these. So the keyword is on the left, the search volume is on the right. So the search volume means, and this is national, so you would want to search for your particular area, but it still gives you an idea of which keywords take precedence. So this is on a monthly basis. These are kind of base keywords.
About 10 minutes ago.
Okay, these are base keywords. And as you can see, there are variations on deck builder, deck company, deck installer, outdoor living space contractor. It goes on and on. You want to have different variations of these too. And so that's why, I mean, the top variation is to include your city with the keyword. So again, make sure that you are saying what cities that you serve and combining it with, you know, the target keyword. So, you know, outdoor kitchens in San Diego, right? And then here are some other variations. So you just got to get creative. You don't want your website to look like it is written for SEO. So we find that we have to make a lot of compromises with digital marketing in order for, you know, in order to, again, like a good harmony between what Google wants and then what makes sense for your user. And you guys are all creative people. And so you build things where like first impressions are, you know, really important. And so your website should be the same one. So just don't go crazy by like adding in a ton of keywords and making it, if it seems like SEO or it doesn't seem right, don't do it. I will always have user experience trump doing things from an SEO perspective. But other variations that you could add on to these keywords are builder, contractor, company, you know, deck installer near me, patio builder near me. You can add construction, installer, local deck builder, local porch builder, right? Or again, with the city. So I do want to stop and see if anybody has any questions on this. I want to make sure that you understand what I'm saying here. Makes sense. I mean, basically the services that you do and different forms of deck builder, you need to make sure that there's keywords on your site. I've seen a lot of websites where they don't even say they're a deck builder. They just have some fluffy content and they show a picture of their work. So just make sure you take the extra step and add those in there. All right, so on page optimization, we already talked about having good content with a good user experience. I gave you a couple of examples of something that just does not seem like a good experience. It seems like it's, you know, more catered towards, you know, a Google robot than a person. Leverage multimedia to improve on-page time. So again, have different components on your website that make people want to stay with you or stay on the site. Have your services pages. So multiple services, custom deck construction, different types of deck construction there. Deck remodeling and resurfacing, outdoor rooms. They were doing legacy decks. They were doing easy breeze rooms. You know, now they're focusing on these 3-season rooms. Different outdoor living features. Just have a page for all of those there. Have your projects. So Mitchell Construction. This is a big change that has happened recently. Does anybody happen to have city pages on their website, or even know what I'm referring to when I say that? So city pages is a strategy that we use, and I mean, people are still using it, but you have to be really careful about how you approach those. So basically it would be, Oceanside deck builder. And then you'd have Vista deck builder, or local deck builder in Vista, or local deck builder in Del Mar. These are all areas in Northern San Diego County that I'm talking to you about. And what happens, especially if you're using some SEO company overseas, they basically just duplicate the content. They change the slug, which is up here, outdoor living spaces, and then they'll change the H1 on the page, which in this case would be here, and make it use that target keyword, local deck builder in Vista. But then all the content's the same. Well, again, if you were somebody visiting a website and you looked at all these different city pages and it was the same content every time, it would be a little funky, right? It'd be like, why? It's just obvious that something is weird. So it's still really good because, again, if you have a page for each keyword you're trying to target, then you're going to have a better chance of showing up for that keyword if somebody is typing for that keyword in that particular city. But you have to differentiate the content quite a bit. It has to be really rich, awesome content. And so what we have decided to do that is going to make more sense is have actual project pages where we're promoting a project that was done in that particular city. So this site, we're still working on some things here, but we've got all these projects here, and you can see Manhattan, Illinois, right? So we can view the project. It's got a lot of great detail. Again, we're reinforcing the city that it was done in. We're talking about materials used, price range, and we're giving a lot of great content around this. Now, another thing that I've seen with people do with those city pages is they'll try and educate the person on the city. They'll link to the Chamber of Commerce and talk about what the weather's like. And you're like, I'm looking for a custom deck. I live here. You don't need to tell me what the city, what's going on in the city. But that's what people do, because it's kind of like a black hat strategy is what we call it when you're basically not doing the right thing with SEO, to basically show Google that you're providing content that is relevant to the city, but it makes no sense, right? So this is a better approach to, again, find a better harmony between discuss like having content around particular cities, but also really talking about your work instead of, I don't need to know about the Chamber of Commerce in X city. So does this make sense? Yeah. City pages are, so Kevin said, yeah, service area pages. So it could be different counties that you serve, different cities that you serve. They're not location pages. Location pages are great, but only if you really have a physical location in those different areas. City or service area pages, it's just about the different places that you serve. Okay. All right. So have unique content on every page. I just talked about with the city pages, that strategy that I see of SEO companies do. How's everything going with yours, Kevin? I mean, you don't have to say it, but do you see that you have good traffic?
You know, April, I haven't analyzed my traffic in a long time. I didn't have the chat up earlier. I have the analytics app, and I don't even know. I actually tried to open it while you were talking, and it seems like it's not even synced right now. But honestly, like I always tell you, like while I'm booked for 6 or 8 months with quality projects, this isn't like in the forefront of my task list. But yeah, I've seen a large drop off with our leads, and I know that something is going on there. And I've also seen some competitors pop up. So I want to be ahead of it. That's why I'm here today, because but I'm also like, I haven't really tried to do anything, and I'm on first page and I'm in the top of my locals. So I see this as an opportunity. If we were actually to put some effort into the website, you know, we haven't updated anything in so long. Like we could really own this market, you know? We already have such a strong hold with little to no effort. So that's where I'm at. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's typical too. And that's why it's like, I hate as a marketer, we got to be like, oh, it depends, you know, like I can't tell you the exact results you're going to get, because I mean, we've seen this too. I mean, during the COVID bloom, right? Like there were so many home builders and deck builders and all this stuff that started to pop up that, you know, unless you were really positioning your brand at a certain level and targeting the specific type of clientele. I mean, we have, there's a colleague of mine on his site. He's like, yeah, we do landscape construction, or we marketing for landscape designers and, you know, companies that are at $1 million and above. And so you guys can do the same thing. Like we only do this type of project. We only serve this type of client. And Chris was even talking about that in their Academy boardroom last Friday. They have a presentation that says exactly who their ideal customer is that they provide to, you know, their prospect when they meet with them. So it's really about differentiating yourself, knowing who your ideal client is. And, you know, it's competitive. So in your case, Kevin, when you first started, maybe the competitors in your area just weren't doing a good job. You know what I mean? And so it was a lot of opportunity for you just to do something. And I can't remember, I know I reviewed everything with you, Kevin, but it's been a little bit. So it could be a matter of, you know, your competition. And then again, like factors like not staying up to date with things, and then your competitors are. So lots of things to look out for. And I mean, I talked a little bit earlier about how with Google ads and advertising in general, once you turn it off, no more leads are coming in, right? Well, it's kind of similar in a way with SEO. Like if you don't continuously work at it, eventually you will drop off, but it's not like a hard cutoff like it is with Google ads, And again, it kind of depends on your competition and, what's going on in the area. So keyword in the title in H1. So let's look at Artisan here. So let's look at Legacy Decks. Let's go to their homepage here. And the title is, if you guys can see this, if I roll over the tab, it says Deck Builders in Greenville, South Carolina. This is what shows up in the search engine result page right here. Deck Builders in Greenville, South Carolina. So that's the page title. That's what people see in the search results. The H1 is the second most important part, and that's going to be the big headline that you have here. So they've got Premier Deck Builder in Greenville, South Carolina. They're talking about custom decks, custom deck design and construction in Fishers. This one I think is even more specific. And it's always the balance of having something that's inspirational and also try and get those keywords in there. So top rated composite deck builders in Chicago suburbs. So that would be the H1 tag. And then the meta description. So the meta description is what it's showing here. Legacy Decks is Greenville's premier deck builder. We offer deck installation, design, and renovation services tailored to a unique vision. So something, I mean, you could even add on to that, like get a free estimate today or something like that. Like it needs to entice people to click. You don't necessarily need to have the keywords in there, although you can see that Google will bold it. And so it stands out a little bit more. However, you could stand out is what you need to do, but your meta description should entice people to click through. So it should be kind of more creative. And then make sure that you have your name, address, and phone number in the footer. So name, address, phone number, make sure that that is in the footer of your website. Blog with ongoing updates. We'll talk about that in a little bit more. Here's another tool for you guys. Focus on page speed for desktop and mobile. So if you go to pagespeed.web.dev and you type in your URL, it'll tell you the site speed. You want a higher number there. And you definitely don't want it to be in red. So a lot of times people aren't optimizing their images before they load it on their website. So they'll have like an 8 megabyte image. That puppy isn't going to load if somebody's on desktop, or I'm sorry, on mobile, using their data. So you need to make sure that that stuff is working well. You could do things like add caching plugins and image optimization plugins to help with your site speed too. So super important. Any questions on the on-page optimization so far? Again, we're focusing on the 20%. So off-page SEO, this is where a lot of people aren't focusing, and it's extremely important. I know there's not as many bullet points as the other one. There's a lot of intricate details that go into this. I'm just kind of bullet pointing it at a high level. Very first thing, make sure that you claim that Google business listing. It could take a few weeks if you haven't claimed it yet. They'll send you a postcard. They might ask you a bunch of questions, but you need to get that Google business listing set up. You want to get lots of citations across the web. So this is an example of the local search ecosystem. These are primary data aggregators. They invest a lot of money to make sure that all the information is correct. And then sources like search engines, they rely on this data to make sure that what they are providing their searchers is correct. And then you can see the crossover. So sites like Zip Local, Monta, Yellow Pages, all of these rely on these primary data aggregators. So you need to feed these primary data aggregators your correct business name, address, phone number, and make sure that it's correct all the time, because it affects all of these: Facebook, Yellow Pages, Yelp, Foursquare, all of this stuff. Super, super important. Basically, there's hundreds of these. You want to make sure that you're on all the top ones. And then focus on your like local directories. So if there's any local directories in your area, make sure that you have a profile there. Vertical directories would be like Nadra, make sure that you are a member of Nadra and you have your listing there. So anything related, obviously, to deck construction, things of that nature, you want to have a presence there. So this takes a little bit of work to make sure that you're everywhere. I like to say it's popularity contest. You want to be the most popular. You want to have your business on all of these sites that are super high authoritative and are linking to yours. The second or the third is to build up those online reviews. So I mentioned that before. It just matters in so many ways. And it definitely is a factor from an SEO perspective to make sure that you have a lot of reviews, because it's a signal to Google that you are legit. It's social proof that you do good work and they should send people to your site. So make sure you have a system for collecting those. And then strategic content syndication. So what does that mean? A simple blog post on your site it's just not going to cut it anymore. You don't build it and they will come. You don't just produce a blog post and think that it's going to make a big difference. You actually have to get it in front of people. You have to syndicate it. So we have introduced a new authority signal generation approach. And it's very similar to press releases. Back in the day, you used to do press releases. It would build links back to your site. You spent thousands of dollars on it, and it could help move the needle a little bit. Well, those don't really work anymore because the links that are generated from those distribution sources, they append a no follow on it, which says, hey, Google, don't give this as much credit. Don't follow it. So we need to get your content distributed on places that will give you really good links with that do follow on it. And it's all a part of a cutting edge content marketing platform for authority signal generation and building EAT to achieve superior search visibility. Are you glazing over? I'm going to explain this to you. So EAT is how we break down Google's algorithms and their ranking factors. So I think it was in December, they introduced another E into EAT, and it's experience. So EAT stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So these are all the areas that you need to focus on in order to feed Google's hungry algorithm signals that they should be showing your website. Over here to the right are individual ranking factors. So this is for the local pack. This is for the map pack. They heavily rely on the Google business signals. So, excuse me, make sure that you have that puppy optimized well. Link signals, review signals. I'm not going to go over all this in complete detail, but if you have any questions, I can explain this more to you. It's just a matter of understanding that it's more than just building a website. You have to generate links. You have to generate signals. You have to utilize the entire internet to show Google that you are worthy of them ranking you higher in the search engine results. So it's a little bit different for both. So over to the right is organic. So that would be under the map pack in the search engine results. It's a little bit different, but they also play together. So what you have on your website, what you're linking to on your website from your Google business profile, vice versa, it's like you're creating a spider web of links. And it's extremely important that it's all rocking in all those places, because Google business will be looking at what you're doing on your website. Google will be looking at what's going on your Google business in order to help you rank more for organic. So this is just a little bit more information in terms of where everything weighs in terms of priority. So for organic, link signals, on-page signals, so having that name, address, and phone number, keywords all over the place. Domain authority, we haven't talked about. It's basically a score that we put on your domain for popularity. I'll just say it that way. Behavioral signals. So that's all of those metrics that Google is looking to see. Are people clicking through? Are they clicking on mobile devices and desktop? Things of that nature. Your Google business optimization, citation signals. So that would be everything that I was talking about here, making sure that you're showing all of these places. Personalization, review signals, social signals. Review signals is number 3 up here, extremely important. So you can see both important, more important for Google business. Lots of crossover, different order of priority, all extremely important. So authoritativeness, a couple of changes. Google wants to know, so the experience component means that the person who wrote the thing that you're reading knows what they're talking about. I'm just going to call it individual authority. So if you have a blog, make sure that you have an author page. Make sure that you select somebody from your business to be the delegated author of the content. That person, you then need to build the authority for that person. So it's not just about building the authority for your company, which we're going to talk about a little bit here, but building the authority for you as an author, as an individual. So you need to have an about me page. You need to have maybe a microsite, at least a page on your website that speaks about who you are, and all of that stuff needs to link together to build up your individual authority. So that's something new. And then authoritativeness, like getting published on high authoritative websites, ABC, CBS, Fox, all of that stuff. Really important. And that is what the strategic content syndication is that we offer. So we've partnered with a provider that syndicates content to really high authoritative sites. What we do is we take your content and then we it needs to be something valuable. You know, it needs to talk about your services, something that's unique about you guys, what's going on with your business news, things like that. And then we reformat it. Well, we put the blog, if it's a blog, we put it on your website. If it's a press release type of format, we'll put it on your website in that way, but we'll definitely repurpose it for the syndication. So what's important about this is you can see here, we're able to then link back to your website. So these are really high authoritative websites that are building links back to your website, which is really, really important from an SEO perspective. So here's an example. We've got great images, great content, a nice list. It's super easy to read. We've got multiple places in here to link back to their pages on their site. We've got their name, address, and phone number in here. We've got a map, embedded map, all the really good things. And then of course the original source to give the original credit back to the website. So that is really taking your SEO and leveling it up to do things like that. So I do have a checklist. We're kind of running short on time. Mackenzie can put this link in the chat. That way you guys can download this. It really just reinforces a lot of things that I talked about today. But just to go over it really quickly, on page, make sure that you have those keywords, that you're including it in all the important places. Make sure that you're optimizing your Google business profile. So here are some different steps for that. Make sure that you are syndicating your content and that you're also producing content on a regular basis. And the content needs to be something that somebody is searching for. Really popular, some ideas are, you know, composite versus wood decking, or Trex versus timber tech, things like that. You know, people are really curious for. So think about kind of a lot of the questions that you get asked ongoing and write content about it on your website. That way, even if somebody asks you during the sales process, you can reinforce what you're saying by providing them a link to that. So it can help with the sales process too, but more so the blog content should support your service pages and help build up the rankings for your primary keywords. And of course, get in front of more people that are during, you know, in the research phase of their journey. So we've covered a lot. We're on time. Does anyone want to share anything that you learned or that you noticed during the presentation? I like to say that I have a weak ego and I can use some, you know, some props if, you know, you guys kind of got anything from this. Any changes in what you guys were doing before compared to now? Any new ideas?
I'm building a new website. We had one. It's supposed to be done tomorrow. A lot of what you said, I will be checking out. So it was very informative to me. It really was so timely, you can't imagine.
Great. Okay.
April,
right. Well,
I appreciate your time. I know we're like in this constant need to like have further conversations, and I'll try to connect with you in Florida, but it's always, I address things in the order that they're killing me, and this one hasn't. And I know I've been telling you that for a year now, but I think we're closing in on that timing that I need to take control of this side of it. But I do appreciate, I got a lot of notes here, and maybe I can at least knock a couple boxes off the checklist on my own, and we'll connect soon. I appreciate your time, though. Thank you.
of course. Great. Good to see you as always, Kevin. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Thank you, Kirk. I'm glad you got something from this. David, did you have a question?
Yes, I do, or conversation. I've got a marketing company probably for the last 3 years, and I really don't think they're doing a lot of the SEO things that you spoke about. Do you have any suggestion? I was like going to show them my notes here, and maybe I tried to download I went to your site and tried to download that handbook. And I don't know give me some thoughts on that.
Well, so again, I mean, if I go back to the reporting, marketing agencies either go one of two ways, I find. They either send you so much stuff that you don't know what it means and it's paralysis by analysis, or they don't send you anything and you have no idea what they're doing for you. So I would just hit them up and ask them how things are going, and if they can show you, what type of results they've produced for you lately. Are they not sending you anything to show you how your traffic is growing or your leads are increasing from the work they're doing?
No, we have meetings, and they go over it and they keep saying, it looks like you need to put more money into the paid ads.
Okay. Well, see, the way I like to approach things is I like to say I'm a, marketing investment consultant. So if we can track and see what your cost per lead is for the different channels, what you're paying for a Google ad lead versus a different lead, then it's a more informative conversation, and it's not left in your court just to feel like all they're doing is telling me to spend more money. You can actually look at it and say, okay, well, I know I need to produce 50 leads per month in order to, based off of this close rate, in order to meet my revenue goal. And we're currently only generating X amount of leads. Why? Where's that coming from? Is it more competitive in your space? With your Google ads, did the cost per click go up, to where like you do need to spend more money because it's just costing more, just like everything else in the world right now? Or are they just not performing? So for me, it's easier to have that conversation when I understand what's happening with your pocket, what's going on with those leads, do they share that type of information with you?
I believe so. I'll tell you what really struck me. You were at one conversation I did have with them. I said, do we have a location page, or basically what you're calling the city page? Because nowhere on my site does it break down the areas that we cover. It's not even mentioned. So he said, yeah, you're right. We should have a separate page for it. But I just Googled, we live in Maryland, and there's about 5 cities in what's called Cecil County. And I Googled deck builders in Cecil County, and I didn't even show up.
Yeah. And how long have they been working on SEO for you?
Probably about 3 years, and I've been in business for 30 years.
Okay.
And we do have Google My Business. We did claim that page. But it was kind of, that just tells me, well, I should be showing up somewhere in my home county.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so it's a good segue here. So, if anybody here just wants help with some of this stuff, type help in the comments. But additionally, I did put a link in the chat. I I have a couple more things I'm going to be posting more regularly in our resources section. Right now, there's this ultimate checklist, and then we have this ultimate guide. But I always offer a free marketing evaluation and plan. And so, David, really the best thing I could say for you is get on my calendar and let's have a conversation.
Right.
And then if it makes sense, then we'll block out an hour. I actually put a few hours into doing, sometimes more, into doing a complete marketing evaluation where I go over all of these aspects of your marketing. I'll show you what keywords you're ranking for and how you stack up against your competition. And
Okay.
at least you'll have a better idea of kind of where you're at, you know, from a different perspective. And then if it makes sense for us to work together, awesome. I'm here for you. But I really like to point people in the right direction either way. So
That's
Mackenzie,
kind of the question I was actually getting to.
okay.
If that's something you do.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Um,
So Mackenzie put the link in the chat. I'm available for you guys anytime. Like I said, we just hop a 15-minute call, kind of have an initial conversation to see what you've been up to. I actually, if you don't know what your benchmarks are, if you don't know what your average leads are per month, your close rate, your average project price, and all of that, I do that for you. We do it together. And then we put together some goals, and we reverse engineer. Then after I have all that information, then I do my homework, I do a complete marketing evaluation, and then I reverse engineer a plan in order to close the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. So I think people find it pretty informative, and you know, it'll help you make a little bit more sense out of all this stuff.
okay. So I can go to the deckbuildermarketing.com site and make an appointment there.
Yep.
Okay.
So this is my calendar right here. I'm out of town next week, but you can book a time on here.
Okay.
Get going.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. Well, guys, you stayed. I hope that you got some value from it and were able to really think about some things you could implement.
I will also be calling you once I
Cool.
get my website up as of tomorrow, and I think I'll be looking for your services.
Make sure, did you have a website before, Bob?
Yeah, we did. My son and I split up our business, so
Oh, okay.
he's retired, so he was doing all the marketing. I was the field guy. So,
Okay. Gotcha. Well, just make sure that whoever redoes the site, they put redirects in place, because unfortunately, a lot of times we'll see that people get their websites redone and then they don't structure it correctly. And so any type of organic traffic you were getting before totally is lost.
We're listed number one right now.
Okay.
So I'm a little concerned.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, make sure they have a backup of the old site then.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time.
Does anybody here want to share any topics that would be interested? I mean, people usually want to know what you need to have on your website. Anything else, like thoughts on investing in advertising? Any topics that would be helpful for you guys? Well, feel free to email me. And again, I really thank you for your time. We'll send the recap over as soon as we kind of get everything organized. And then you'll have access to the slides and all of the resources provided today too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.